Wow, I had to hide it manually. All right. Everyone's all good.
Yeah.
Eleanor is muted
Yeah, I'm here.
or was muted. Okay, let me just grab up the first one. Okay. There we go. We're live. That was tricky to say the least.
Yeah.
But we managed. I'm there. I'm going to move this over so that I'm looking at the camera a bit more. Okay. All right. I've got the chat up and everything, although I'm not really going to watch it heaps, but we managed it. Okay. So, firstly, I'm Scoriox, as many of you may know, but I've got two special guests on my channel today, and I'm definitely going to have more people involved in the future as well. So, I'm really excited for everything. But let me just introduce these two. So, firstly, down the bottom there, we've got Daniel Lee. Now, he is quite a prominent VEVE YouTuber at this point, and he's obviously expressed his interest in Illuvium, and he's been getting more into Illuvium content as of late as well. So he's in the space. He probably doesn't. He's probably not as involved as me or Eleanor at this point, but he's really involved with VEVE NFTs and NFTs in general in the space. Eleanor has been doing Illuvium content for quite some time now. Definitely make sure to go show them both some love. They've got their Discord channels listed down in the description below. Eleanor is really talented. He knows lots of different languages, and he helps out with all those language communities in the Discord so much. And I know many of you, especially Spanish speakers, will know him quite well. And he's a really smart guy. He has some experience with Solidity and other crypto blockchain technology and things like that. And he's written some of his own contracts as well. So he has a really good understanding of the tokenomics and how they work as well. So, yeah, it's awesome to have you two guys here.
Thanks for having us.
Yep, happy to be here.
Okay, so just to talk about kind of where we're going with this for today. Oh, crap, I got rid of my thing. We're going to be talking about three major topics today, and then at the end, we're going to do around 10 minutes of Q&A and see if we can field some questions that people might have. But there was the Polemo stream today, and they covered off a lot of the questions about the SILV stuff that's going on and V2 and things. So if we could cover a Q&A, maybe outside of that sort of stuff a little bit, that'd be really awesome. More about gameplay and other NFT topics and things as well. That'd be kind of what I would like to focus on. So our first topic for today is that the NFTs on VEVE. So did you want to tell us a little bit about VEVE first, Daniel?
Yeah. So, VEVE is an app. It's an app catering to the mass market. Came out in early 2021. And basically, the general premise of it is that these are officially licensed NFTs, aka digital collectibles. So we have a lot of licenses. Like, and when I say we, I mean the team. I'm just a YouTuber. But the team has a lot of licenses like Marvel. So we have Spider-Man NFTs. We have Disney NFTs. Recently, we came out with like Steamboat Willie and all these NFTs. And what's the amazing part of this project is it's catering to the mass market. So right now, NFTs are really kind of a virgin space. And I think there will come a time where NFTs matter a lot in the sense of, are these official licensed products? And I think when that happens, VEVE is going to be uniquely positioned to take advantage of that because they have so many licenses. In 2022, we're expecting, 100 plus licenses to be announced that, we heard rumors about and things like that. And people are making a lot of money. Right now, the collectibles are kind of booming. I mean, for example, there's a Walt Disney partner statue that when it dropped, it was 300 gems, aka $300.
Yep.
Now it's something like 50, 60,000 gems. So $50,000, $60,000. So if you got in early, you could make quite a bit of money. It's still a really new project. There's some things that need to be maybe fixed. There needs to be some way to remove some of your money. They're working on a money transmitter license or MTL. But yeah, it's a really amazing app, and you guys should definitely check it out if you haven't heard of it before.
Yeah, so I think my biggest question is something that I see get asked a lot about VEVE NFTs in general and overall NFTs is, when do you think you should take profits? Like, they've been going up a lot, and as you were speaking about it, lately they've been going parabolic, and I've seen some statistics and things where like $3 million is entering the app every day. And I know I'd like to hear from both of you on this one. Eleanor, with the more general NFTs out there, kind of how would you envision taking profits in a platform that's gone parabolic? Like crypto and NFTs go in similar, they go in waves. How would you go about that?
Well, I think it's really about, do you think this platform will still be there in 10 years? And will those different brands, like I know there are Batman and Superman, etc., do they guarantee the scarcity of them, or they're planning to remain then? I guess they will keep the scarcity. So if you believe that they'll still be there in 10 years, and that's kind of the idea with, well, Illuvium, etc., then they could grow in value a lot. Now, I do also think that there is a cap. Like, I don't think everything can go to the level that CryptoPunks got. And if it was me, and based on what you explain, and considering the crash we had today, I'd probably have a 50-50 approach, or 1/3, 2/3, where I can offload as it goes up, and maybe just to buy back more later on, right? If I'm really a fan of that. So that's probably what I would do. So I'm curious to know what you did, Daniel, because you've been way early on that, I assume, since you're doing YouTube. So are you just keeping them all, or what's your approach?
Yeah, so I'm more of there is a crypto associated with this app. It's part of the ecosystem. Eventually there's going to be utility added to this token. So I'm more on that side, but I do have some collectibles, and I am in the space. I mean, honestly, some of these drops, you spend, like the partner statues, for example, the Walt partner statues, you get them for $300. They have gone as high as, $60,000 plus. What return is that? That's a massive return. That would be a great time to take profit. Some people say that, oh, these are going to go to maybe 100,000, maybe, even higher. There's some use case of maybe renting them as, being able to provide you with some monthly income if you can rent it, and there's some use case associated with it. But I think it's always smart to take some profit. Some people may have a strategy that maybe they're not flippers, or they're not really trading. They want to hold it. Yeah, that's fine. But taking profit, there should be no problems with taking profit. I think you should, especially since we're seeing kind of a decline in crypto prices and some fear in all the markets, stock market, crypto, NFTs in general. So I think it's smart to take profits.
Just on that though, the entire market at this very moment is certainly moving. Let's just put it that way. How do you guys think NFTs overall, ignoring NFT gaming for now, because we'll cover that a little bit later, but NFTs like portrait NFTs and VEVE NFTs and things, how do you think they behave if Bitcoin did enter a full-on bear market right now? How do you think they might behave?
Go ahead. Yep.
Okay. I really think NFTs right now are probably the most speculative asset. Some are, your blue chips or grails, and that's great. Those will do well long term. But other projects are way more speculative. I feel in general, in a bear market, your most speculative and dangerous asset will decline first. Then it will be the cryptos, your Bitcoins, your Ethereums. Then it will be, your conventional stocks and things like that. So that being said, you should be very, very careful with what you're investing in, and have a clear plan and strategy.
Cool. So I think if we had a real bear market like 2018, I think history would probably repeat itself with what we've seen with CryptoKitty and some Axia were already in the 2019, etc. I think. So looking how that went down can give you a view of what could happen. But I really doubt we'll have that kind of a bear market. Like, we probably have something like May. Nobody knows. I'm not into prediction.
Yeah.
But if you look at the last real crypto winter, Ethereum and our Bitcoin did 100x. Like in 2016, Ethereum did 100x, like compared to the previous all-time high, etc. Here we're like 3x above the previous all-time high, And we're seeing crazy interest and adoption with DeFi. I work with a lot of institutions. Everybody's looking into that right now. Used to be all about ESG and AI and machine learning. And now blockchain and crypto is getting on the top of the list. Plus, you got really crazy investor like MicroStrategy just holding and buying more forever. You got the Twitter guy that is also getting into that. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think another strategy that people should consider, this goes for crypto and NFTs. And I think with crypto, a lot of people like to put in, say, $1,000, and then if it 2x's, they pull out $1,000, right? So they try and take away their initial investment. In my current NFT strategy or VEVE strategy, the best I'm trying to go, even though I end up reinvesting it all anyways, and it's probably not the smartest thing to do and not financial advice to anyone, but if you do have the opportunity to buy two of something and you think it's got great short-term or even long-term potential, trying to buy 2+ of an NFT, and I think Dan has mentioned this on his channel before, and then selling one off when you get that initial return back or you make a certain goal. And as Dan said, yeah, just trying to set goals for yourself. People really can take that sort of thing for granted, but it's really, really important. And I've only really started setting crypto goals for myself recently, and it has helped me so much. I have made lots of losses and lots of gains since I've been in crypto. And yeah, you just definitely want to have a game plan set up. All right. So going off of that, we're going to head over to the second topic, which is ILV staking V2. Okay. So one big thing I want to talk about is Kieran has reimbursed the community for everything that has happened and gone down in the past. Do you guys think, so we're just going to cover off this one really quickly. Do you guys think that was the right decision to go? What do you think, Daniel? So so there was a lot of issue with liquidity providers and everything for everyone who doesn't know. And SILV had some issues in its contract. Now they're rectifying it and everyone's going to get their SILV back. But on top of that, because of the issues, a lot of people lost a decent amount of money. And Kieran is reimbursing that out of pocket because he doesn't want to affect the DAO or Illuvium in itself. So what do you think?
Yeah, obviously I'm not really, as invested in Illuvium as I am with VEVE, but, I am a little bit aware of that situation. But my thing is, I think they had to have done it because I think if they didn't reimburse these people, I think it has the potential to have killed the project. So when it's so early on in the early stages and people trust this team, you have to do things like this to win trust. Long term, when there's, maybe they can afford to just say, okay, you did something that, that wasn't really official. So it's not really our problem. Maybe in the future they can do that. But right now, I mean, I think we've talked briefly about it. I personally think it would have killed the project if Kieran did not reimburse these people.
Yeah, what do you think?
So I'm from a very different perspective because I'm more than 7 figures in Illuvium. And I do think that they had to do something, but not, I think there's a lot of confusion, right? So for instance, they nuke the LP. So of course, they would have to do something about that because it's not even the SILV thing. It was a reason why, but they just minted 100 million SILV and nuke the LP. So of course they had to do something about that because it was a rug. And the reason behind it were all pure and good, etc. Now they will give back the money of the LP. I think it makes a lot of sense. It was not an issue of the actual pool. It was an issue of SIV, hence they are responsible, hence it makes sense they do that. Now they also want to, because Kieran said that even if the council votes against reimbursing people that traded after up to 1 hour after the nuking, he voted against it, but he said that he will pay. So all this aspect, I think it's good. It speaks well of them, but there are other aspects that are just ignored, I think, and are highly relevant. So for instance, for a while, people were not able to unstake, right? I think like maybe just now you're able to unstake. Yeah. And if you were not locked because you didn't want to be locked in the project, then you were anyway. And there's no reward for those when the market just crashed more or less at the same time. And they are real investors that really were with a lot of money in that were not speculating, that trusted the team. And there's no reward at all there, because there was supposed to be a bonus, and then this bonus is just the normal reward. They spoke of NFTs, but now there's nothing. So that's where I'm kind of on the fence. I think it was relevant to, well, give back to the LP what they took, etc. But I think with all the delays, because since November, there's just no visibility on what's going to happen with the land sale.
Yep.
And again, a lot of people lose money because of that. So I'm like, why would you help these, which were more related to speculation, and not all the others? That's where
Yeah, it's certainly a tricky one. And I think the team is definitely doing their best to do the right thing, and they will moving forward. But maybe it did go to a vote, I believe, and the vote went to no. So the vote was about the DAO reimbursing, I believe, and then it went to no, and then Kieran went, well, I'm going to do it anyways. And that's just on him, and everyone understands that it's got nothing to do with Illuvium in a lot of ways. And I commend him for it, but I'm just afraid of the precedent it sets. But I think everyone's fully aware that this was very much a one-time thing, and they've done a good job communicating that. So I think it will be fine moving forward. Just quickly, Walking Feather has sent a super chat. Honestly, I've never had one of them before, so I don't really know what to do. But she just wanted everyone to know to share, tweet, like, and sub on the video. And don't forget to sub down to Daniel Lee and Eleanor as well. If you don't really understand VEVE very well, or you haven't really been involved, he's definitely a great place to get started. And Eleanor has some really awesome content. He made an awesome music video thing for Illuvium, which is super cool. You should definitely check that out as well. So we're going to just talk about kind of staking V2 and what it is. So I'm just going to give a really quick rundown that basically they're going on layer 2, but not necessarily IMX to begin with. So it's not particularly clear what their plan is, but they want to make sure that they don't have to redo anything. And that's kind of been their big explanation for why these sorts of things aren't out yet. They want to build something and not have to go and rebuild it 2 months later, because that is just going to cause even more delays. So they could have some of this stuff out, but it's just going to cause more problems down the road. Do you guys think they should just push out some of this stuff, and when we get to it, we get to it? Or what do you think might be their best play there?
I can start this time. So I think there's a balance. I think there's been a lot of delays. I think some delay were announced a bit late, because if, I don't know, you need an audit that takes 3 months, then you don't need to tell the community 30 days before land sale or something like that. There'll be a delay. As for the team, I think they're great. I think there's a lot of perfectionists in the team, which is both good and bad, because if you're a perfectionist, then you always want to make something a bit better, a bit better, a bit better. I think there is value in incremental delivery with a more agile style, where you have a beta which, well, maybe has only the auto battler, and you'll really let people know that, well, it's just a beta, like it could be the private one, etc. I'm actually afraid, I think a lot of the community is afraid that they would delay after March and after the unlock. They've been saying a lot of time that it won't happen because all the delay we had are not related to the actual main game. But we also learned that the dates said outside of the announcement of Discord are not real announcement based on what happened in the past. So yeah, that's where I am.
Yeah, what do you reckon, Dan?
Yeah, so this kind of reminds me of VEVE, actually. You know, we are going through this pretty big migration from our old blockchain to the new one. And we were expecting this actually as early as, I think, August of 2021. And I feel like, not to bash the team, I support them, but in terms of VEVE, I feel like as long as you have a good, strong communication style that you're telling your supporters, I think it's okay. It doesn't bother me that things are delayed 3-6 months, maybe even a year. But I think there's a problem that happens when people have an expectation of something coming out, and then they wait till the bitter end, and then they're like, where is it? And then, oh, hey, guys, there's something going on. We have to push it back, and they keep doing that. I think that's the problem. As long as you have a strong communication with your supporters, I don't mind waiting, to be honest. I don't mind waiting 3 or 4 or 5, 6 months for land sale or for the Illuvium game. I don't mind that at all, as long as I know that, beforehand, not 1 week before it's supposed to launch, that there's going to be a delay, because these are big projects. There's a lot of high stakes involved. I expect delays, but I want to be informed of those delays.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. What did you want to say, Laura?
No, just that I totally agree. The issue is not the delay. The issue is the postponing, mostly, because if it was always say, well, this is when we'll have the land sale, but then the issue is more related to people getting in or acting based on their trust of the date and then not having that. Anyway, I'm kind of super negative on this aspect, but I don't know if later on we can actually look at all the good stuff, because the team is really doing something great with the leaks, etc. And at the end of the day, it's great. It just, some little glitches.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a big difference that VEVE and Illuvium have had in the past. I think Illuvium has always been really, really good with their communication, and they've only improved. And VEVE was quite poor, let's say 3 or 4 months ago, and most of last year. Their communication has been probably one of the weakest communications that there have been in a lot of these spaces. But lately, I think they've improved, haven't they, Daniel?
Yeah, I think so. I think recently, like they've changed their communication style a little bit. You would usually kind of be more informal in the AMAs, and they would drop a couple things, and the YouTubers would pick up on it, and they would talk about it, get the community talking. But now I think that they're more cautious. When they say something's going to happen, it's been happening this year, so it's getting our community excited, and I think they've learned, and I think Illuvium, VEVE will just continue to get better as they learn and adapt.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I think we'll jump over to our third topic for today, and let me know in the comments down below if you guys want to see 1, 2, or 3 topics, or 4 or 5 in any of these given things. I want to do these regularly. I have no idea if it will be weekly yet. If you guys want to see that, again, leave a comment down below. I really appreciate it. So let's just jump into the last one. So this is kind of going to be a topic that will be pursuing throughout a lot of my general content as sidebars in the future, as well as in these streams. I think this is going to be a big thing that we talk about. So in particular, for today, I want to talk about traditional gaming and NFT gaming, and kind of the differences there and how everyone feels about it. Because, well, firstly, Microsoft just acquired Blizzard. They acquired Bethesda and now Blizzard. And a lot of people see this as their next big metaverse play. And we've seen with things like Square Enix and other companies that the general gaming community is very, very discouraged by NFTs in gaming. They do not see it as a good thing. They see it as a very, very negative thing in the space. And I have my own takes on this, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say first. So, Ilwanor, what do you think about gamers not attaching themselves to NFTs? The biggest argument is they think it's a cash grab. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think if gamers, for instance, in Fortnite with their skin, etc., had the opportunity to just sell their skill when they stop playing or when they want a new one, they would do it, right? It's not something they can do, but it's something always everybody wanted to do. I think recently some Dagger in Diablo was sold for like $5,000, something like that. And so there is a demand for that. Now, I think the way is more or less what you explained with VEVE. It's not having this feel that you're actually in crypto. And that's what they want to do with Immutable X, right? They did mention several times in you that they'll have a bridge and you just use your credit card or your parents' credit card and you just get this Ramfire. And behind the scene, well, it bought some Ethereum and then this Ethereum was spent on getting your NFT. But you could be kind of totally shield from the actual aspect that is crypto and NFT. You'll just say, oh, I got a Ramfire and hey, daddy, I just sold it. And can I wire it to your bank account somehow, maybe later on? And that's it. And then you totally remove this aspect that is more scary for the average player. And you give them something they always wanted, which is you actually own your stuff. Sword, Pokemon. I don't know if you had the very first Pokemon of Pokemon Go, a Pikachu, and then they never did Pikachu ever again. well, some people would want to buy it, right? So I think through this path, it will work. And then the other thing is competition. And that's what Kieran has been saying since the beginning. That's how I actually got in Illuvium. If you can have a competition like they did with Fortnite, etc., and some other game where you got all the media on top of it. I learned about Fortnite through the media when they had million there. And I was thinking like, well, I should play this one since there is million potentially there. And well, if they combine the two, I think nobody will care that much that it's on the blockchain. They'll just think, wow, you can make a lot of money and well, it's easy to get in and out. So
Yeah, I think this is a very complicated question. I haven't really thought about it too much, but one question I just asked myself is, why would a big AAA budget studio like your Blizzard, your Microsoft, Bungie, why would they act, with an NFT, you need a blockchain, right? That's kind of the whole thing. It's a unique, non-fungible token. So it needs to be on a blockchain. So why would these big studios develop a blockchain to just offer NFTs to their customers when they could just have a centralized system and just sell skins and sell items that way, keep it centralized? I don't, at least for me, I don't see the incentive that they have to do something completely new. Whereas I think I think this presents an opportunity for something like Illuvium, where not only can you raise money, but you can also feed into this NFT demand by creating NFTs that they want. So I think it's a way for smaller studios to actually compete with the bigger players. And then if NFTs and blockchain gaming wins, then the big boys will have to adapt and start their own blockchains and things to compete. But I don't see the incentive for a big studio to do so right now. I don't know what you guys think.
I think there is an incentive, but the problem is regulation also. Because if you're a big company and you suddenly say, hey, you know what, we'll just have this NFT, it might be a real, complication for them. But when you see brands like Adidas and Nike really getting into NFTs, well, they are a marketing company, so that's really something that is relevant to them. But I think in the end, nobody will really have a choice, be it for GameFi or DeFi. You'll have to get in. So, Scorex, what do you think?
I think it will turn into a competition thing, but I think you're right, Daniel. At the moment, there's zero incentive, but the problem that they run into is when people eventually do catch on to NFT gaming as far better, for the Fortnite example Ilwanor just presented. I think companies will have to add NFTs to their games, because then people would just choose to play something that they can then transfer over to a different game in the future. It's just less restrictive. But the biggest problem I think I see for NFT gaming in general, to play devil's advocate here, is the pay to win mantra. Now, gamers have always been against that, and I think that's where some of them are coming from. So I remember I bought Battlefront 2, and it had the whole pay to win thing, and the game got absolutely destroyed by the media and everything because you could pay money to pretty much have an advantage over other players. Now, however, I think the big thing to take away from that is the company really got hurt because of that. They really, really suffered. So a lot of companies risk this with NFT gaming, where people are upset even if they don't know why. But if a company does introduce NFTs, and they use it as a way for whales to be able to win more easily, then that would actually harm the company more than do them any good. So I don't think any companies are going to go down that road again, following some of the controversies that have come from the past. I think they're all very aware of that, and they will definitely steer clear of it. But there definitely needs to be a lot of education in the space. There's a lot of people discussing issues with NFT gaming without really understanding what it can mean for everyone in the space. Okay, so that covers off the three topics we've had today. So if you guys don't mind, I'd love to jump into some really quick Q&A. Would that be all right? Yeah, so does anyone in the chat have anything that they want to ask anyone up here on the platform? Steering clear of SILV a little bit. Let's chat about Illuvium, VEVE. If you guys want to know anything about VEVE, because you're newer to VEVE, then yeah, I'd love to hear your questions. What do I do if someone hasn't asked a question yet?
we can just talk. While people are thinking about questions they may want to ask, I mean, I think one thing that will, that will introduce NFTs to the masses is the whole novel concept of the play to earn game. I mean, I see that's where we have a window. Why would you play a game that you have to spend, $50-$60 or maybe a monthly fee to play when you could potentially play a game you love, maybe make a couple $100 on it every month, and then have NFTs incorporated in that, where maybe that's a mechanism where you're earning money. You're buying and selling different, like alluvials or collectibles, whatever it is. I see play to earn gaming as the way we introduce some of these more advanced concepts, because I do agree with you as well, Eleanor. It's the regulation. Like, how can't even imagine the regulatory issue with a big gaming studio introducing their own token or incorporating some play to earn mechanic into the game. I think that's very challenging because it's a very fresh and new frontier. But I don't know if you have any thoughts.
Just imagine if they wanted to do what Illuvium wants to do with the bet, where you can actually bet on somebody or against somebody on playing actual token or money. Well, you're kind of becoming a casino, and that's going to be extremely complicated in a lot of different places to actually get that work. Now, play to win, I totally agree with you, Scoria. It's not fun. Like, even if you got a lot of money, it's not fun. But then there's this aspect, and I don't remember if Aaron or Grant mentioned it this way, of play and earn, which I think it's really what this is about. I'm still playing some game where I don't earn anything. Now, if I can really enjoy Illuvium, which I think I will, based on what we've seen, and I hope I will, then it's play and earn. And they don't have it all, because people think a lot of like the way Axie was built and this inflation, etc. But here it's all about a marketplace, and mostly, right? And buying some stuff you need. So I think if you can actually play and earn, it's going to be great. Now, if we speak quickly, until we got a question about your last video, Scoriox, on the actual RevDs and the amount of money that people will spend in the game.
Yeah.
It's really hard for the average player that will use the credit card, like we explained before, to spend hundreds of thousands a month on the game. So here it's where it's going to be extremely interesting to see, okay, how can an average player just start with $50? I think it's fair, right? It's as if you were buying it on Steam or somewhere else. But how can you actually play and enjoy it without having to spend that every day?
Yeah. I don't really know the details of that yet, but there is definitely a premise here where if they spend $50 and earn $70 and they reinvest it, it's just reinvesting money. But it still doesn't make a lot of sense, because at some point people do have to take money out. And then it can fall apart a little bit, how Axie Infinity did. And it's based on a lot of the growth over time in comparison to how much people are spending. But I don't quite know how that's going to play out. I really do think it's going to grow rapidly and could support a lot of that. But you've also it's a different gambling premise that you will see down the road, which happens with a lot of things, not just in NFT gaming. So I foresee this premise where eventually, if someone spends $50, they have no guarantee of making money back. Alluvials become so hard to capture, or some alluvials aren't worth very much, and they have no guarantee of making $50 back. But what they do have is they have that lottery ticket once again. They have the lottery ticket where they can get an alluvial with really high stats, get a holographic one, manage to catch a Ramfire with a $2 shard instead of a $200 shard by complete luck. And then they've made back the past 20 runs with this one capture. And I think it's that premise of they have the chance to make big money and they're willing to gamble to do so. But I think it will be a little bit of a whale's game potentially. But they have the free-to-play side. So you never know kind of what's going to happen there. And you also have this side of the free-to-play where it might take someone a month to make up the money to do one run in the T1 in the next stage. But if every single free-to-play player is reinvesting any money they made back into the game, then it's a closed loop anyways. And some of these numbers can start to make sense when you have 10, 20 million players. Some of these revenue distribution numbers can really start to come to the front.
And there'll be a push with survival mode and in-game earning, where actually I think that's how it will really start. Like you'll just put $50 and get maybe one Illuvium, but it's Illuvial, but it's enough for you to earn more in survival mode. And when the money here will reduce, then we'll have competition, etc. to keep pushing.
I do have a question from Great Scott, and he says, "What's the bottom for ILV in a bear market?" So I'll cover that one off quickly. I have done a lot of research into this because I'm doing my next price prediction video very soon. But the big thing is any small cap token and even a lot of the larger cap ones in true crypto winter went down between 95 to 98% from their peak. Okay. So based on that only, from Illuvium's current peak, maybe look at it now, let's say 97% is down to about $55.
Oof. That's rough.
Which is still better than where we were a few months back, right? You went to 29, so it's not that crazy, but it would not be that crazy.
If I had to shed my opinion, I think I remember $100 and how powerful that level was. I don't think we'll go below 100. If I had to say anything, I still don't know if we're going to go into a bear market. Nobody does, but that's how I would go about that.
But it's not just that, right? It's not just about charting and graphics. I think if the game release in March, around March, then, remember what happened with just Axie in July, right? I think it was in July. It was a few months after May, and it just started to go up, and everything was going down, and GameFi started. It could be like that too. Like if there is really something that people are using, then you can separate yourself from the market slightly.
That's the thing. We haven't seen GameFi and crypto in a bearish sentiment yet. We haven't really seen
kind of not at the same time. But if you look at when Axie was going up, it was really when everything was already down or was still going down a bit.
Yeah.
So they kind of showed there that if you have a crazy adoption, you can just go against the wave. So
that in crypto winter, most tokens go down, but a lot of the tokens that have gone down and what we've seen in the past, gaming has such a different utility to all of them. So who knows? The entire space overall, DeFi, NFTs and everything could just drastically change. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I think, a lot of people were predicting, with the whole super cycle, the 4-year cycles, that we would see the exact same things happening that we did 4 years ago. And I think that's a good way to conceptualize things. But I think so many things are different now than there were 2-3 years ago. You mentioned with MicroStrategies, we have really crazy mainstream adoption of Bitcoin. And really, a lot of people are getting into crypto in a really big way. So I don't really foresee something massive happening like we did before, because really there's just a lot of fear in the market right now. Really, fundamentally, not much has changed with various cryptos, with the economies of different nations. We have some inflation, we have some fear for sure, but we're still very strong. People still have a lot of jobs, people have a lot of money. So I think this correction we're seeing is what it is. I think it's a correction. I wouldn't say it's a bear market at this point, at least not yet.
Okay, there's so many questions. I don't know which ones to field and which ones not, because we don't want this to go on for too long. But let's just firstly, Walking Feather said, crap, where was it? Okay, so I've seen a few questions about scholarships and mega cities. Okay, so let's look at scholarships. They want to know kind of how we foresee scholarships happening in Illuvium. What do you reckon, Eleanor?
I foresee. So what Polemos is saying, that they'll have a way for you to actually rent your assets, which combines very well with other idea of what you could do with your Illuvials, which is exactly the opposite as Axie, right? Where we know we can fuse them and merge them so that we have the next level. Was mentioned we'll have other way to use them, maybe by just you sacrifice one and you got +10 in strength or something like that. And so you'll have way to do that. Now, scholarship is all about renting and making it available to others, not just to start, but to start faster. Axis showed that, well, there is a real market for that, but it has to be better organized. So I think it could be really big, but it's still really, really new, like speaking specifically of scholarship. Right now, it seems that for Illuvium 0, it was mentioned in the Discord that guilds would have to organize that. Like they were not planning to organize scholarship around that. But Kieran Dean mentioned in some interview that they were planning to have like liquidity pool of Illuvials, right? Like instead of a one-on-one contact where the owner, like the master, I don't know how you call it, the one that gives scholarship is very powerful. The manager is too powerful. You could just have some kind of pool where you just add your Atlas to the Atlas pool and it's rented this way. I think we're far from that, but I think it's a vision.
Yeah, I think it will definitely come a long ways down the road. With mega cities, we don't have a lot of information, so I'm not really going to go with that yet. I'm trying to find a question for Daniel.
That's okay.
It's mostly Illuvium stuff.
I got one for Daniel. How did you actually get in Illuvial? So you're obviously really deep in VV. You got a pretty decent channel. I know that, well, we see VV behind you, but not Illuvium yet. What's your plan? Are you planning to really go 50-50 in Illuvium and get in more deep as it's released? What's your view?
Yeah, it's kind of difficult. My Illuvium content actually resonates pretty well with typically my VV audience. So I know there's some interest there, but part of it is this is just a hobby for me. I'm not a professional YouTuber, so it's I have only so many hours in the day, and it's just easier for me to make VV content. But I don't know. There's just so much going on. It's hard for me to keep up on both worlds. So I don't know what I'll do, but I think once the game is actually out and maybe I can play, that's probably my avenue back into Illuvium. You know, I've done a couple of Illuvium videos that have done okay, but I think I would rather be a player in Illuvium than talking kind of master strategy like you guys, or what's coming up next, speculation. You know, I think that's your guys' strength and not mine.
Yeah, I mean, definitely come on the channel and we'll help you out with that as well.
Yeah.
There was an interesting question. Obviously, no one has to answer this, but Great Scott wanted to know how Illuminor's 7-figure investment into Illuvium is actually broken down. And I was thinking maybe we should talk a little bit about that concept in general for VV and Illuvium. So Illuminor, did you want to start us off and talk to us kind of like, are you mostly in SLP, ILV, SILV? Kind of how much might you allocate to playing the game and things like that?
Yeah, sure. So when I started, I can mention the evolution because it's not as if, well, I'll just always LP extra, which I'm kind of now. When I just started with Illuvium, I liked it. I didn't like the idea to be locked at all. So I just went in the ILV pool, not locked. And with like 1,000 token, it was giving me like 20 token a month, which was good. Like it used to be 80% around at that time. And well, then I just keep reading, etc. And the SLP one was extremely interesting. Like it was 700%. It was like, you know, you just think about it. And the land sale was supposed to be in November. So what I thought is, let's just go all SLP, half locked, 12 months, and half not locked.
Yep.
And well, in just a few months, I would have my capital back in SILV. I'll have it in lands, and then lands would be liquid and not locked, and I would not be locked anymore in a way. Then we had the actual pool of SILV, the one that just got nuked. I took some time to think about it, but then I thought, you know, it's the same contract. It's just a really cool discount. And I removed the SLP I had unlocked and moved everything with the multiplicator on SILV. So now I'm mostly in SILV and in SLP. And when I'm claiming, I used to claim more SILV. around 120 a month, something like that.
Yeah, I think I pretty much just went all in 2.0 SLP. And I don't really like claiming SILV. I like claiming ILV because it's got a really finite supply. And I know that one day it's all going to be out there and I want to own as much as I possibly can. And then with my spare Ethereum and my DCA strategies and things, I use that to buy some SILV when I get the chance. But I haven't bought a lot lately. And obviously, even like 2-3 months ago, I haven't really bought any because I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens. So Daniel, how much do you think you've put into OMI, Y, and VEVE NFTs? Kind of what's your allocation between the NFTs and the OMI?
Yeah, I would say I have about, I think what I put in of my own capital, about $50,000 worth of OMI, have about 8 million OMI. And I really am not much of a collector. I'm starting to get into it now, but most of my collectible collection, it's worth probably, I think last time I checked my vaults, like 15,000 gems or $15,000. But the vast majority of that was from gifts from other people. So
Awesome.
I can't really say that. Well, that's my allocation. And then in terms of SLP, I have it mostly in SLP locked for a year. I think they unlock August through December, November, something like that. I have about 20 grand worth of, I think I have like, actually, I'll have to check. I think I only have like 4 or 5, so somewhere around there, SLP right now. And then whatever I have like in terms of rewards. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. I didn't realize you got so many VEVE gifts. My vault's
it was one gift. It was one gift. A big whale gave me a collectible that was, at the time he gave it to me, it was worth $3,000, and then it went as high as 14,000, and then now it's back down to about 11,000. So that's the bulk of my collection value.
Yeah, my collection's sitting. I haven't been like attempting the drops lately, but my collection's sitting probably just over 40. I don't know how much I put into it. Probably close to 5 or 6K in total, maybe. But yeah, it's. I got a Superman early on, I think on the drop or just after, and things like that. So it's just 1 or 2 collectibles that are kind of like holding the entire thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, I can't really see another major question, or I'm not looking hard enough. But I think we might have to wrap it up now. I think it's been a great stream. We've talked about a lot and a lot of different topics. Again, please like and subscribe. And subscribe to these two guys as well. They put out awesome content. You definitely don't want to miss what they have to say. I'm a little bit quantity at the moment. I like to put out a lot of content. Illinois has some really, really good stuff though. And yeah, Daniel Lee talks about VEVE so much. And watching YouTube is probably how I keep most in the loop with VEVE in general. Illuvium a little bit as well, but a lot of my own research, helps me get in the loop. But with VEVE, it's definitely a lot of the YouTubers and things and their daily updates and stuff like that. So a big thanks to both of you guys for joining me on the stream. And yeah, it's been a good time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having us. It was cool.
All right. See ya.